My beloved child. Listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not a coincidence, not an accident, and not something that reached you by chance. This message is arriving at the exact moment when your heart is trying to ignore the quiet signals it has been feeling for a long time. You have been sensing a strange shift, a pause in warmth, a silence that feels heavier than words. You told yourself it was nothing. You blamed timing, stress, distance, or fate. But deep inside, there has been a question you were afraid to ask. Tonight, that question is standing in front of you without fear. Your partner is exposing a truth, not loudly, not openly, but through patterns, pauses, and choices that speak when the mouth stays quiet. This truth is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to wake you up before it becomes too late to protect your heart. What you feel right now, that tightness in your chest, is your intuition recognizing something it already knows but never wanted to admit. Stay with me. Do not rush. Because the first layer of truth is never the most dangerous one. The danger hides beneath what looks normal. Beneath what feels familiar. Beneath what you keep forgiving without realizing why. There is a moment in every deep connection where one person starts holding back pieces of themselves, not because they stopped caring, but because they started protecting something else. Watch carefully. Your partner's energy has been dividing. Not disappearing, not leaving entirely, but splitting in ways that are easy to miss if you are emotionally invested. The truth is being exposed through inconsistencies that do not add up, through stories that feel complete yet strangely empty, through affection that arrives on schedule instead of naturally. This is not about betrayal in the way people usually imagine it. This is about emotional redirection. Attention going somewhere it no longer fully belongs to you. You may notice that when you share something important, the response feels delayed, rehearsed, or slightly detached. You may feel that you are explaining yourself more than before, just to feel understood. That is not because you are asking for too much. It is because something within your partner has shifted priorities, and that shift is quietly shaping every interaction. The truth is not screaming. It is whispering. And whispers are the most dangerous because they can be ignored until they become irreversible. Understand this clearly. When a partner starts exposing a truth unintentionally, it is often because they believe you will never connect the dots. They trust your loyalty. They trust your patience. They trust your willingness to give benefit of doubt again and again. This is not manipulation born from cruelty. It is comfort born from familiarity. They know you love deeply. They know you stay longer than most. And because of that, they allow themselves emotional freedoms they would never take if they feared losing you. This is where the truth sharpens. Love without awareness becomes permission. Care without boundaries becomes silence. And silence slowly teaches the other person that they do not need to explain themselves fully anymore. If you have been feeling like you are the only one asking questions, the only one trying to fix misunderstandings, the only one carrying emotional weight, then the truth has already begun revealing itself. You are not imagining this. You are responding to imbalance. And imbalance is always the first visible crack before something breaks. Now listen to this part very carefully, because this is where most people make the mistake that costs them years. The truth your partner is exposing is not necessarily about someone else entering their life. It is about you slowly exiting the center of it. Priorities do not change overnight. They drift. And drift feels harmless until distance becomes permanent. When your partner stops sharing inner thoughts, future plans, or emotional fears with the same openness, it means those spaces are being guarded. Not always shared elsewhere, but protected from you. This is where confusion grows. You may still talk daily. You may still laugh. You may still feel moments of closeness. But something essential is missing. Emotional presence. And without emotional presence, even loyalty feels empty. The truth is asking you one question. Are you being chosen intentionally, or are you being kept out of habit? That question is uncomfortable. That question changes everything. And that is why most people avoid asking it until life forces the answer upon them. What happens next depends on what you do with this awareness. The truth is not here to create fear. It is here to give you power before it is taken away by delay. Right now, you are standing at a silent crossroad. One path leads to continued hope without clarity, where you keep adjusting yourself to keep the connection alive. The other path leads to conscious awareness, where you stop shrinking your needs to maintain peace. Your partner's actions are exposing whether they are willing to meet you at the same emotional depth you offer. Do not confront yet. Do not accuse. Observe. Presence reveals more than pressure ever will. If they step closer when you stop chasing, the truth will soften. If they pull further away, the truth will become undeniable. Either way, what you are learning now is arriving before it is too late. And that timing is not random. This message found you because your heart is ready to see clearly, even if clarity hurts more than illusion. There comes a silent second phase where truth stops hiding and starts testing you. This is the phase your partner never speaks about, yet lives inside every day. You may feel it when their reactions no longer match the situation, when small things suddenly trigger distance, or when serious conversations are gently pushed aside with comfort words but no real resolution. This is not confusion. This is avoidance. Avoidance of a reality they are not ready to face, and a responsibility they are not sure they want to carry anymore. The truth being exposed here is subtle but powerful. Your partner knows something has changed, but hopes time will fix it without confrontation. Time does not fix emotional gaps. It only widens them quietly. And if you are paying attention, you will notice that the warmth you once received freely now feels conditional, like it depends on your silence, your patience, and your ability to not ask the wrong questions. At this stage, your partner starts revealing their truth through contradictions. They say they care, yet they do not show up when it matters most. They promise consistency, yet their actions arrive randomly. They reassure you with words, yet their presence feels distracted, as if part of them is always somewhere else. This is where your heart begins to feel tired instead of excited. Not because love is gone, but because love without emotional safety becomes exhausting. The truth here is not dramatic. It is draining. And draining truths are the hardest to accept because they do not explode. They erode. Slowly. Silently. You may start questioning yourself. You may wonder if you are expecting too much. That doubt is not yours. It is the result of receiving mixed signals for too long. When someone truly values you, clarity feels calm, not confusing. Notice how effort has started to feel uneven. You think before speaking, adjusting your tone, choosing words carefully so that nothing turns into distance. Meanwhile, your partner moves freely, unaware or unwilling to notice how much you are holding back. This imbalance is the truth exposing itself in real time. Love was never meant to feel like walking on emotional glass. If you feel relief when they are in a good mood and anxiety when they are distant, something is wrong. Not with you, but with the dynamic. Your partner may not be intentionally hurting you. But intention does not erase impact. Emotional neglect often comes wrapped in familiarity, making it easy to tolerate and hard to leave. This is why the truth waits until you are strong enough to see it without breaking. Another sign you cannot ignore is how the future is spoken about. Or avoided. Plans become vague. Commitment feels postponed. Conversations about growth feel redirected. This does not mean your partner has decided to leave. It means they are uncertain about how deeply they want to stay. Uncertainty is a truth many people hide because it makes them look weak or unfair. Instead of admitting it, they act distant and hope the other person adjusts. If you are the one constantly holding the vision, the hope, the patience, then ask yourself this quietly. Is your partner walking beside you, or are they letting you walk alone while holding their hand? The difference matters more than you think. One builds a future. The other delays an ending. Here is the part that most people miss. The truth is not telling you to panic. It is asking you to pause. To stop overgiving. To stop proving your worth through endurance. Watch what happens when you choose calm observation over emotional reaction. When you stop filling the gaps they leave. When you stop initiating every repair. A partner who values you will feel the distance and step forward. A partner who is unsure will let the space grow. That response will answer questions words never could. This moment is critical because it determines whether this truth becomes your awakening or your regret. You are not losing love by seeing clearly. You are gaining yourself back. And that is something no uncertain connection should ever cost you. There is a point where the truth stops being something you observe and becomes something you feel in your bones. This is that point. The phase where your partner's behavior no longer confuses you, but quietly teaches you what to expect. The messages come later. The calls feel shorter. The excitement in their voice fades into routine. Nothing is openly wrong, yet nothing feels deeply right. This is not distance caused by circumstances. This is emotional withdrawal disguised as normalcy. Your partner is exposing a truth through predictability. When affection becomes predictable, when care feels scheduled instead of spontaneous, it is a sign that effort is being managed, not felt. And managed love never grows. It maintains just enough to survive. If your heart has started accepting less without questioning, then understand this. You did not become less valuable. You simply stayed too long in a space where your depth was no longer fully received. At this stage, your partner begins protecting their comfort more than the connection. You may notice how they avoid emotional depth, how serious talks are delayed, softened, or redirected. They may say everything is fine, yet you feel unseen. This is the truth revealing itself through emotional deflection. When someone no longer wants to confront what they feel, they hide behind calm words and surface-level peace. But peace without honesty is just quiet tension. You may sense that they do not ask the same questions anymore. They do not lean into your inner world the way they once did. This is not because they stopped caring completely. It is because caring deeply requires effort, vulnerability, and risk. And right now, your partner is choosing safety over depth. That choice tells you more than any confession ever could. Pay attention to how you are changing. Not them. You. You may have started explaining less because it feels pointless. You may have lowered expectations to avoid disappointment. You may have accepted emotional crumbs and called it understanding. This is the truth reflecting back at you through your own behavior. When love is healthy, you expand. When love becomes uncertain, you shrink to fit the space you are given. That is not compromise. That is self-abandonment. Your partner may not notice this shift because it benefits their comfort. But your soul notices. And your soul is the one sending this message now. You are not meant to be strong all the time. You are meant to be met. And if you are doing all the meeting alone, then something vital is missing. There is also a silence around accountability that cannot be ignored. When issues arise, they are smoothed over instead of resolved. Apologies feel incomplete. Promises feel repetitive. This is where the truth sharpens again. Your partner is not fully invested in repairing what breaks, because part of them is unsure whether they want to build further. Repair requires commitment. Avoidance requires nothing. If you feel like problems keep returning in different forms, it is because the root has never been addressed. And roots do not disappear on their own. They grow deeper. You deserve a partner who does not fear emotional responsibility. Someone who does not see your feelings as complications, but as invitations to understand you better. This is the moment of quiet realization. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong person to give what they are currently unwilling to offer. That does not make them a villain. But it does mean you must stop blaming yourself for their emotional distance. The truth your partner is exposing is this. They are standing at the edge of the connection, not fully in, not fully out. And that position slowly drains the one who loves deeper. What you do next will decide whether this truth becomes the beginning of your empowerment or the continuation of your pain. Awareness is not the end. It is the door. And you are standing right in front of it now. There is a moment when the truth stops asking for your attention and starts demanding your decision. This is that moment. You may feel calmer than before, not because things improved, but because your heart has stopped expecting what it once hoped for. That calm is not peace. It is emotional preparation. Your partner's truth is now visible in how little they notice this change in you. When someone is deeply connected, they sense even the smallest shift. When they are emotionally distant, they mistake your silence for understanding. This is where the revelation becomes unavoidable. You have been adjusting your emotions to protect the connection, while they have been adjusting the connection to protect their comfort. That imbalance is no longer hidden. It is standing right between you, unspoken, yet powerful enough to change everything. Watch closely how your partner responds when you stop giving more than you receive. Not in anger. Not in protest. Just in quiet self-respect. This reaction reveals the core truth. If they step up, communicate, and show emotional effort, then the distance was unintentional and correctable. But if they remain passive, distracted, or slightly irritated by your emotional boundaries, then the truth becomes clear. They were benefiting from your overgiving. Love that only survives when one person carries extra weight is not love built for the long term. It is convenience disguised as connection. And convenience always fades when effort is required. This is not about punishment. It is about observation. Reality reveals itself when you stop interfering with it. Another layer of truth emerges through how problems are framed. Notice if your partner begins to subtly imply that your emotions are the issue. That you are sensitive. That you think too much. That things would be fine if you relaxed. This is emotional deflection, not accountability. When someone cannot face their own withdrawal, they often redirect attention toward your reaction to it. This does not mean they are consciously trying to hurt you. It means they are protecting themselves from discomfort. But your feelings are not inconveniences. They are signals. And when signals are repeatedly dismissed, the system eventually shuts down. That shutdown is what many people mistake for falling out of love. In reality, it is emotional exhaustion reaching its limit. There is also a deeper truth surfacing now, one that is harder to accept than distance. Your partner may care about you, but not enough to grow with you. Caring is easy. Growth requires courage. Growth requires choosing the connection even when it challenges comfort zones. If you feel like you are evolving emotionally while they remain static, then you are slowly outgrowing the relationship. This does not happen loudly. It happens quietly, through repeated disappointment and silent resilience. You start becoming someone who understands more, tolerates more, and asks for less. That version of you may look strong on the outside, but inside, it is lonely. Love was never meant to make you feel alone while being with someone. This part of the journey is not about endings yet. It is about truth standing fully exposed. No more confusion. No more excuses. Just clarity. Your partner is showing you exactly how much emotional space they are willing to hold for you. Believe what you see, not what you hope. Hope without evidence is how people lose years. Awareness gives you choice. And choice gives you power. The next step will ask you to decide whether you continue investing in potential, or finally respond to reality. What comes next will not be easy, but it will be honest. And honesty, even when painful, is the beginning of real freedom. There is a final threshold where truth no longer whispers or tests you. It waits. Calm. Patient. Certain. This is that threshold. By now, you are no longer guessing. You are noticing patterns with clarity that cannot be unseen. The way your partner responds when you are emotionally honest. The way they withdraw when responsibility appears. The way affection returns only when distance threatens their comfort. This is not coincidence. This is conditioning. And the truth being exposed here is the most important one of all. Your partner has learned that minimal effort is enough to keep you present. Not fulfilled. Not secure. Just present. And presence without fulfillment slowly erodes self-worth in ways that are hard to explain but impossible to ignore. You may feel strong, but tired. Loyal, but unseen. Committed, yet emotionally alone. That is not love reaching maturity. That is love being slowly reduced to endurance. At this stage, the truth stops being about your partner and starts being about you. About what you accept. About what you normalize. About what you continue to call love even when it no longer nourishes you. You have been hoping for consistency, for depth, for reassurance that feels natural instead of requested. But hope cannot replace action. And patience cannot replace mutual effort. The truth your partner is exposing is not hidden in their words anymore. It is visible in the gap between what you give and what you receive. In the way you prepare yourself emotionally before speaking, while they speak freely without fear of loss. This imbalance teaches a dangerous lesson if left unchecked. It teaches you that love is proven by sacrifice instead of shared responsibility. And once that lesson settles, it becomes very hard to unlearn. Now comes the part that changes everything. When you finally stop chasing clarity and start embodying it, the dynamic shifts instantly. Not dramatically. Not loudly. But powerfully. You stop explaining your worth. You stop waiting for emotional breadcrumbs. You stop shrinking your needs to fit someone else's limitations. This is where the truth reveals its final shape. A partner who is capable of meeting you will feel this shift and step forward with intention. A partner who is not will feel threatened by your emotional stability and distance themselves further. Neither outcome is a loss. One is confirmation. The other is release. What you must understand is this. You are not responsible for convincing someone to choose you fully. You are responsible for choosing yourself honestly.